Guys, I think it's time we have a conversation about artificial intelligence. Cause man, it is getting kind of scary. Now, I think we all know what AI is, what artificial intelligence is. I don't think I need to pull up a wiki for that. But while conversation about AI and the ethics behind it have been around for a while now, I feel like where the discourse turns super high is with the introduction of generative AI, which is a type of AI where you type in a prompt of whatever you want, and AI takes from different sources all around the internet and generates whatever you said to the best of its ability. Now, this can be like, for example, ChatGPT, where you can generate specific information you need or to help you format something, which I mean, besides people having like that environment conversation or whatever, I don't think many people have much of an issue with that basic premise. But then you have generative AI in the form of art or video, which is really where people get upset, because to generate, for example, a picture for you, AI takes from art on the internet and puts it into the image that you want. That's where they get their reference from, which then leads to artists getting their stuff basically stolen from under their noses, and people feel like that's just not right. Also, this just defeats the entire purpose of art in the first place, of what it's supposed to be, which is you creating something. Now, overall, that's just the basic spark notes, and once again, this conversation about how harmful the technology is to jobs and things have been around fleshed out conversations for years at this point and talked about a lot on various different channels. But as we've seen with our own eyes, this type of AI is rapidly improving, especially with generative AI, specifically with apps like OpenAI Sora and Midjourney. And this rapid success is definitely spooking a lot of people who are worried about the potential future where it just ends up taking over and we just end up losing a lot of jobs in the market, especially when you combine that with things like with AI robots, which I've made a video about before on this channel. And then we end up like Detroit Become Human, where we all just hate robots and want to abuse them.
Hey, Teen Skin, I found your girlfriend. Get him, boys.
Come on now.
I mean, do you guys remember the infamous video of Will Smith eating the spaghetti like a caveman, and the AI's very unique take on how that would look? If you look at that same prompt over the course of only a few years, it obviously has improved a lot and became more realistic, which is very telling on how fast it's improving, memes aside. Now, this leads us into the introduction of the most recent AI scare, which is this new upgrade to OpenAI Sora, which we've talked about before. That AI is probably one of the best in terms of generating things like videos and whatnot. They introduced a new upgrade called Sora 2 that launched on September 30th. On September 30th, OpenAI introduced Sora 2, a next generation model for AI video with synchronized audio. It increases realism, improves physical consistency, and follows users' instructions with higher fidelity than the original Sora. OpenAI's system card describes sharper realism, more accurate physics, synchronized audio, stronger steerability, and a wider stylistic range. The model powers a new consumer app named Sora that emphasizes creation and sharing of short AI videos. The app behaves like a creative playground. You write a prompt, Sora 2 generates video and audio together, and you can publish inside a vertical feed. Several outlets compare the experience to a TikTok-like environment where people create short clips of themselves or friends using AI. So as I said, basically it's just what they had with Sora 1, but what they claim on their official website is that Sora 2 works with more realistic environments. And they specifically list things like Olympic gymnastic routines, backflips, and triple axles while a cat holds for dear life. What is that example? What the fuck? Now, this is cool and all, but once again, it begs the question, like, how far are we going to go with this? Because the videos it manages to generate are really good, man. It's really uncanny. And one has to ask, how long is it before this stuff gets regulated? Because now the technology is dipping into using various established IPs. And this is what went super viral on Twitter when this first came out. For example, you have characters like Super Mario and SpongeBob getting pulled over in like body cam footage, and they like kind of just like zoom past.
Stop Keep your hands on the wheel! You almost wiped out 3 cars back there! Put it in park, now!
I'm sorry, officer.
Don't move. Door's locked?
Unlock it.
Right now!
Get a ticket again.
Hey! Stop the car! Unit 12!
Another thing that people found was that there was people generating like dead people into doing something. Like, for example, they had Kobe Bryant, who died a couple years ago, but he's like playing the new NBA 2K. And then you had like Michael Jackson or Freddie Mercury like stealing chicken or something. It was just very strange, man. And then there's plenty more examples of this, like them using certain anime anime, like One Punch Man or Dragon Ball. You have video game characters, like I said before, and fucking Skibbity Toilet. I'm not even joking. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Skibbity Biden clears the hell out of this in every way, shape, and form, bro. And this has led a lot of people to have conversation about, like, eventually this getting to a point where the copyrighted material that these guys are stealing from is gonna just outright replace the media in general. Obviously, it won't do it right now because it can only generate short clips, but think about in the future where the clips get longer, and then you can generate whole episodes of like SpongeBob with one prompt. And inevitably, that's going to outright replace the media in general, and that material being the thing that the AI is trained on.
No, dodge, you pixelated pretzel. Roll, you medieval idiot.
He's still swinging,
Thank you for
Rick.
the play-by-play. I can see the gigantic sword, Morty. Thank you for the play-by-play.
Oh my god, the health bar. Why does he have a second phase?
I'm out of...
So look, you just have to look beyond the curve of this and see how insane it is that OpenAI, number one, is just doesn't care at all about training on everyone's data, whether it's copyrighted or not, whether it's owned by the biggest IP holders or not. We're gonna see the Goliath versus Kong battle of Disney versus OpenAI, I think. But think about how insulted you'd be if you painstakingly created these characters only to have people on Sora just be like, yeah, we're gonna just take that and let everyone generate whatever they want in your same style.
And I'm gonna talk about how productive the conversation of ethics and is this ethical to do. But in this case, it is a question of ethics and how far is it gonna go? Because we've gone from taking things from artists online to now we're taking characters from companies like Nintendo and Disney. You have to ask, where does the line get drawn? Because like I said, eventually it's gonna get to the point where people will be able to generate episodes of these characters. And at that point, they have to do something, or else that's a market replacement for the original material. And they could end up getting in huge trouble, like how Midjourney had gotten with Warner Bros. For infringing on their property not too long ago. Either way though, this, ladies and gentlemen, is not just a problem for corporations, but also content creators as well.
Oh god. Listen, it's Max Win. It's right there.
All right, chat, that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out.
Who's spending that?
Now, content creators have reacted to this in a way that's more for entertainment's sake, if anything, like them in a particular situation, or them doing something in a clip that obviously they would never do in real life. And then you have things like gay Jake Paul.
I'm literally in the car right now and I'm feeling so cute. Like, hi, who is she?
It's giving main character, it's giving convertible, even though it's a Jeep. I can't.
I feel so soft tonight.
Yo, this AI is getting out of hand. It's honestly not even
Yo,
fun.
Jake, you want a Celsius?
Celsius? Yes, bitch. I'll be trying to
Now, overall, I think doing content like this is completely fine. These YouTubers aren't actually making the AI videos. Most of the time, it's their community that's doing it for mostly like a meme of some kind. And it's entertaining to both of them. And even though it is still AI slop, the YouTubers end up spinning it by making content out of it, like they should. And then you have YouTubers whose content is quite literally just AI slop. Now, YouTubers selling out to AI isn't something that's exactly new ground to tread on. Easily, the one that probably comes to mind is this YouTuber called Kwebbelkop, who's basically a YouTuber that he fell off. He ended up using AI to completely generate his videos and basically became a complete AI slop shill that completely deaded his whole reputation. You also just have complete channels who are AI slop too. So then you have channels like this one, like Psychic Depth, right? And I know for a fact this is an AI channel, but it's not only like AI in terms of like the script and stuff, it's also AI in terms of the art in it. Why so many men stay single for years and women are to blame.
I'm going to tell you something that will probably piss off half the internet, but someone needs to say it. You know what I see when I look around? Men, successful men, good-looking men.
Bro, look at this shit, bro. Hold on. Look at this shit. It's like buildings. They're not even like, no one draws like this. Like no one draws like this. This is AI art, bro. This is just AI prompts. Bro, look at these buildings. Like what, like the windows when you look at them, like, so like, what is this? They're like molded into each other, bro. Like art, this is very clearly AI generated. And then you notice that they changed screens every like couple seconds. That's because they can only generate short little clips, and they just like bunch bunch them all together and then do like a basic transition. It's literally what all this is. It is all this is. Look at this, man. And then you have people that use it sparingly and experiment with it to see what they can get away with, like with what happened with a content creator named VicStar123. And similar to channels like Kwebbelkop that have been on the YouTube platform for a long time, keep in mind, VicStar is also someone who's been on the YouTube platform for a long time. Now, VicStar is also a DJ, and he had released a music video that was created basically using AI. The entire video was AI generated, and people were not happy about that whatsoever because they feel like it's just lazy. Instead of you getting like an actual artist to do the work, you're using AI, and specifically using it for every frame in the video. And then after getting like a ton of backlash from it, he then tried to respond to it, basically trying to make a justification and saying that the entire process was an AI and there was human artistry put into it, and he was just trying to experiment with it. And then he just ended up completely rage quitting entirely and turned all the comments off. Kevin MacLeod was another OG YouTuber, specifically music creator, that have made some of the most iconic gaming music tracks ever, including the infamous Go to the Mall, you know, good old sneaky snitch.
Everybody wanna be a superstar, get a lot of money, drive fancy cars. Everybody wanna be a superstar, get a lot of money, might not see them more.
Kevin MacLeod also got caught using AI to produce his music tracks. And this has apparently been since November 2024, which is insane. And keep in mind, both him and Vic are talented music artists that are getting caught doing this. However, the person we're talking about is also an OG YouTuber, but instead of the music space, they're in the tech space. And that is a content creator named iJustine. Now, she's someone that's been on the internet for a very, very long time, whether you're talking about YouTube or Twitter or whatever other platform she's on. And at that same point when Sora 2 had gotten released, she put out a tweet that was very much celebrating the release of it. And she not only started hardcore shilling it on Twitter, but also through her YouTube channel via shorts content. And when people had called her out for doing this, because once again, people do not take kindly to especially content creators using AI to create content, people accused her of shilling it and saying that she got paid from Sora 2 to promote it on her platform. Now, she claims that she's not getting paid by them or even shilling it, and she's just testing out the technology. And I was inclined to believe her at first, but if you actually look at the videos and listen to what she says, she is very clearly shilling Sora 2.
Meet OpenAI's Sora 2, the next evolution of video generation.
With just a few words, you can create hyper-realistic videos of literally anything you can imagine.
As long as it's within their guidelines, of course.
So for the past few days, I have been using this app called Sora. It's made by OpenAI, and they just launched their new video generation feature, Sora 2. And it is so wild, the things that you can do. Like, I've been making completely unhinged content.
Simple Sentence can transport you anywhere, anytime, in any scenario you dream up. I've made so many wild videos that looking at my normal content creation seems so boring compared to this.
Now, her getting on her knees and doing the Super Gluck Gluck 9000 and bouncing on Sora for free, or her getting paid by Sora behind closed doors and doing like this disingenuous promotion while not disclosing that it's an ad, and it is an entirely different conversation, and one that none of us know but her. But she is very, very clearly shilling Sora 2 AI regardless. And these videos are also just complete soulless slop. I personally think that YouTubers that do this kind of thing are weird, because creating content is literally the entire point of YouTube. And by doing videos entirely generated by AI is, in my opinion, when you shouldn't be labeled a content creator anymore, and you honestly should just quit, because what's the point? Now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that using AI in every single case is bad, because I would be a hypocrite, because I've used AI to research for videos before. I've used ChatGPT before to get somewhat of a basic skeleton of what I'm going to talk about. I've done it before. Not every time, but I've done it, and it does have its uses for sure. But having these YouTube videos that are made through solely prompts, I personally feel just loses the entire point of doing YouTube in the first place. Like, why are you even here? And notice how all of these YouTubers are all super OG, super old YouTubers that have been on the platform for more than a decade. It could possibly be that they're just sick of doing the type of content, and then new people come in with their AI content and do their garbage garbage, weird slop videos, and people think this is the right way to do it. It's AIDS. When you even look at Kevin MacLeod's response, even he said that he just didn't feel inspired to make music anymore. He also said that people have needed music less and less, so he hasn't really been motivated to produce music himself and just feels like AI is just kind of like a shortcut, which once again, I just think is wrong. I think taking a break, going to someplace, doing something like that is a lot better for your mental than just using AI. That's not going to help anybody. Either way, all the tangents aside, people were extra charged about Sora 2 coming out because all this news about Sora 2 was pretty much coming off the back of the news of a brand new AI actress coming onto the scene a few days before, which I won't lie to you guys was going to be the original topic of this video until all the other AI controversy came out. So I just decided to kind of like bundle it all into one, because why not? So let's talk about the new AI actress, shall we? Now, the AI actress is called Tilly Norwood, who was a character created by an AI talent studio called Shikoya, which is an AI division studio of this company called AI Indie Particle 6 that basically creates generated characters and turns them into real life.
We have spent a big part of this year working on AI characters. Whether they have been pre-existing or newly generated characters, we worked on making them into real-life avatars and then animating those avatars. Let's send our traveller on a trip around London.
We can also generate my voice and animate the avatar. How cool is that?
We can also take full control over the avatar's facial expression.
1, 2, 3.
Bro, this comment is so funny. I feel a more human connection at a wax museum than this slop. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, you fucking bigots, okay? You're probably thinking to yourself that the CEO of this company is like some smelly 50-year-old billionaire who's like completely out of touch. But no, you'd actually be surprised because from what I understand, this company was founded not only by a woman, but a woman who's an actress. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. It really be your own, guys. You gotta watch out. So the founder's name is Aline van der Velden, a Dutch comedian, writer, actress, and producer based in London, England. Now, going back to Tilly Norwood, Aline basically gave Tilly Norwood her own kind of Instagram account and started giving Tilly basically a personality and started posting on Instagram all the way back in May of 2025. For example, there's this post that's basically trying to be relatable about talking about how she's broke and that she's like a uni girl or something, even though she's not. She's a beep boop beep boop boop. She's made a binary, guys, binary. Now, a few months later, she had actually released a comedy sketch called AI Commissioner with Tilly Norwood as one of the characters of the film, which was fully done by AI and apparently featured 16 different AI generated characters. Then we flash forward to September 27th, where it was officially announced on the Zurich Film Festival that she was a thing and she officially debuted there and brought to the world. This came through various tweets as well once she officially debuted and spread around. When this was first revealed to the public, obviously people, including other actors and actresses, were not with the concept of having an AI actress and were very much against it from jump, because once again, it's just another step to take away jobs from people.
Josh Edwards quote tweets film updates by saying, "Fuck Tilly Norwood. Let's all cancel her immediately." And Alex replies, "I heard she says slurs." Deborah replies, "Maybe start by not calling it her." Ryan Lewis replies, "I heard she said N-word behind the scenes." Twist of Jack Twist says, "By the way, she was literally on the Epstein list and tried to alert him ahead of time of the police being at the airports before he got off the plane."
I'm not gonna lie, I actually went to high school with Tilly Norwood and she said she wanted to touch 6-year-olds. Also, people made a really good point to this company calling themselves an AI talent studio, saying that it quite literally makes no sense at all. And yeah, this pretty much just seems like a way for them to slowly creep to psychologically compare actors and AI and have the two be closer in proximity than it is right now. And they're doing this by saying an AI talent studio, or it's a talent agency for AI, when that's not a thing at all, and it never will be a thing. Now, Aline had actually released a statement about Tilly Norwood and her space in the industry on the official Tilly Norwood Instagram account. And like, I just don't believe like most of the things that this person says freaking post. Now, I'm not gonna cover every little statement she says, but I do want to highlight some points from it. Now, for one, Aline basically labels Tilly Norwood as a creative work and a piece of art, and throughout the entire statement, she talks about how artistic this AI actress is. It's not, okay? AI is not art. This is like the equivalent of some dorky fuck that generates AI all day long, and in their bio, it'll say they're like an AI artist or an AI producer. That's not a thing. You niggas are type prompters that puts words in and AI shits you out a product. You don't do any of the work and it's just slop. And I get that this is probably more complicated to an extent to create an entire actress from AI rather than typing a prompt into whatever AI app they have and just generate some stuff from it. I just feel like this is like dumb morons who just LARP is like an artist. It's just weird. I love how like they care so much that they want to be labeled AI artists so badly, but then they don't care that AI art is stealing art from artists. And I just feel like it's just so disrespectful to actual artists that sit there and draw, no matter how dog shit the art is. Now, the other thing that I wanted to highlight is that about this long-winded response, she constantly says that Tilly Norwood is quote unquote not a replacement for a human being. She says that I see AI not as a replacement for, but as a new tool. And she keeps going with that rhetoric, basically saying that AI, it's like CGI, guys. We need to all support it like that. But if that's the case, then why did you say you want her to literally be the next Scarlett Johansson or Natalie Portman all the way back in July? If it's just meant to be a new form of art or a new genre like she claims it is, surely you would not have said this. You would have not compared it to that. She even says in the response that she's not directly compared to human actors when she's the one who compared them to human actors. And one final thing that I want to specifically list out that I found about while editing was an interesting quote where she mentioned how Tilly Norwood was an act of imagination and craftsmanship, and mentions how creating Tilly Norwood takes time, skills, and iteration to bring such a character to life. Basically, she's saying that Tilly Norwood was made with a bunch of effort, and on top of that, it was reported that Tilly Norwood was made from scratch the entire time. However, other people refuted this, and there was actually someone that looked exactly like her, who's a 20-year-old musician named Stella Hennon, and her claim is that they actually stole her likeness, and apparently now she's consulting with her lawyers about what she can do from here. So much for imagination and craftsmanship. It is so very clear and transparent that this is quite literally just meant to replace actresses. And it's not just gonna be actresses, it's gonna be older actresses. It's probably gonna be a guy program that's about the same age as Tilly Norwood. Then they're gonna do the same thing and they're gonna go through each and every age group. And it's just gonna keep going and going and going. Either way, her response to the backlash is really, really bad. And people broke down more of her shitty points because at the end of the day, all this is a disingenuous attempt at trying to replace actors and actresses. And it's dumb, and Aline van der Hingadingadurgan is a loser who should have her company shut down. So I think we should end this off by having a genuine, non-emotionally charged conversation with what should happen from here. Because I know the concept of AI is a very touchy subject, and I want to at least try to be productive about my thoughts. Now, I, for the most part, get both sides of the aisle here. On one hand, you have people who see the limitless potential of what things like generative AI can do, and see it more as mesmerizing and whimsical and fascinating to use, especially with how easy and accessible it is through the apps. But then, on the other hand, you have people that are really worried about that limitless potential, and it having the ability to take away jobs from people. And this isn't something that's being fear-mongered, but it is real. For me, talking anecdotally here, I had a friend that recently told me about how he lost his job to AI verbatim. It wasn't because he did a bad job or he missed something, but it's because AI, that's it. So once again, I completely get being against the technology, but I will say, I think we gotta talk about how that side talk about AI from their perspective. This is just me personally, but I think the entire conversation of the ethics of using AI and how it can affect the world around us, at least from what I've seen, is more useless than useful. I don't think people who are completely captured powered by AI at this point really care about what it's doing to the environment or anything like that, which is one of the main arguments people use when talking about why AI is bad, other than the obvious fact of it taking jobs. And I think people that do care are already on the side of AI being generally bad. So I don't know how productive having that conversation again and again each time there's news about how improved the technology is, since it's been years and that argument has been constantly around. I mean, people said the same thing with cryptocurrency, and people are still doing things with crypto, launching crypto projects. It's still there. Maybe not flourishing as much as it used to be, but the market is still there. I think people who are completely anti-AI have to accept the fact that you cannot put the toothpaste back in the tube. And AI is here to stay, whether you like it or not, and there's always going to be people using that technology. With that being said, the best course of action from here, in my opinion, is to talk about how we can regulate it and adapt to its existence, not argue about how harmful it is. Luckily though, and this is something that hopefully leaves a bit of optimism in the air, there have been ways shown already to combat AI taking over, and entire countries taking the necessary steps against them using AI of their work. Let's take Japan for example. If you guys remember, there was an AI that was super popular that generated you in this like Studio Ghibli style, which is like this cartoon style where everything was like piss yellow, and a lot of people contributed that to the Studio Ghibli style, which is unique in its own way. The only problem, besides the obvious, is that Hayao Miyazaki, who you guys don't know is the co-founder and the director of Studio Ghibli, has quite literally a long time ago said how much he hates AI. This actually caused Japanese lawmakers to look into taking legal action against people using that AI on Studio Ghibli and outright banning it, because the AI takes from Studio Ghibli movies and tries to make it its own, which once again, that's the whole problem with AI art in general. Japan even noticed those same Sora 2 anime videos that we talked about before, and recently made a warning to OpenAI of using their intellectual properties for that. And I assume what comes if they don't regulate it is a lawsuit to the dome, and a pretty big lawsuit to the dome. So Japan is a public example of a country that's starting to take action against reckless use of AI, and hopefully other countries will follow suit. Another example of AI being regulated was during the beef with Drake and Kendrick Lamar, where one of the songs Drake put out, called Tailor Made Freestyle, which was notorious for using AI of the late Tupac, who had died back in 1996 and was one of Kendrick's biggest idols in the music industry, hence why he used Tupac AI. It was basically to spite Kendrick, which it did seem to work when he responded to him using that on Euphoria later on. And soon after the song initially had come out, it was actually demanded to be taken down by Tupac's estate, or else they would sue him, in which Drake very quickly obliged. Now the reason I bring this up is because I think this should 100% be the norm, but for Sora 2 as well. While all the Sora 2 videos were going around, going viral, Zelda Williams, who is Robin Williams' daughter, and Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Bernice King, both spoke out about how they were both getting harassed by a bunch of losers that sent them videos of their dead relatives. Now OpenAI themselves did make a statement about it very recently, where they specifically addressed Bernice King and the MLK AI and said that they worked together with his estate and have made the ultimate decision to pause any depictions of Martin Luther King, and claim that while there are strong free speech interests in depicting historical figures, OpenAI believes public figures and their families should ultimately have control over how their likeness is used. Authorized representatives or estate owners can request that their likeness not be used in Sora cameos. And this coincides with them strengthening their opt-out policy on their site, where they said that you can request to opt out of having your data used to improve our non-API services by visiting our privacy request portal and choosing make a privacy statement, and also them confirming that you can request that your content can be deleted when you submit a data deletion request. So luckily, due to all this backlash that's going on, we are getting more self-autonomy to opt out of these features. Once again, spreads outside of just people with estates, and hopefully anyone can opt out to have their content not be used without their consent. But we'll get into that a little later. Now, regarding the Martin Luther King Jr. AI being taken out, some were glad by this decision overall. Other people were calling them out, saying that if that statement was true, then why did they not go to the families first before putting in their likeness into their systems and have them basically beg online for people to stop harassing them in order for OpenAI to do something about it. And then you had people in the entire other direction that were bitter about it and said that this sets a bad precedent and that Martin Luther King is public domain, so they should be able to still generate him doing whatever they want. Which, I don't know, man. Like, I don't think we can compare Martin Luther King to Steamboat Willie. This guy isn't a cartoon. Like, what are we talking about? And then on the flip side, a celebrity or figure should also have the right to say that they don't mind or even encourage using AI of them in some sort of capacity. Like with what happened with James Earl Jones' Darth Vader voice being used in Fortnite. So long story short, around May, Fortnite had introduced an NPC companion of Darth Vader that basically could talk and fight alongside the player in real time. And the way that they made this possible was because they used generative AI to have him react to situations going on in real time. Now, the issue, besides the very interesting commentary that would spawn because of it, was that a lot of people saw the use of the generative AI to try and portray his likeness in the game as disrespectful. Now, I do have to add that the Vader AI was made in collaboration from his estate, and Jones himself had even helped train the AI voice clone apparently before he died because he wanted the Darth Vader voice to live on forever. Now, maybe this is a hot take coming from me, but I think that if it has the consent from both him, his estate, and even his family, I don't see how Fortnite is being disrespectful to the name if they got the okay for them to use his voice. I'm not saying you have to like it, you don't, but they should be allowed to use it if it's approved by all parties. Just like how I think other people should have the right to take the AI down and cease and desist OpenAI if they don't approve of it. Now, also for some full context, it turned out that the Vader AI actually got taken down by the SAG due to them supporting workers' rights. However, the reason why wasn't necessarily because it was AI. We celebrate the right of our members and their estates to control the use of their digital replicas and welcome the new use of technologies to allow new generations to share in the enjoyment of those legacies and renowned roles. However, we must protect our right to bargain terms and conditions around uses of voice that replace the work of our members. The ULP charge specifies that Llama Productions, a signatory to SAG AFTRA agreements, failed and refused to bargain in good faith with the union by making unilateral changes to terms and conditions of employment without providing notice to the union or the opportunity to bargain, by utilizing AI generated voices to replace bargaining unit work from the interactive program Fortnite. So because they skipped that step, they had to completely take it down, which I think is very fair, and I actually think this is a very good regulation on SAG's part. All I'm trying to say for me bringing this up as an example, just to be clear, because I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm trying to say here, is that if celebrities want to train and have other companies use AI and there's consent from all parties, the family's okay with it, and everyone else is alright with them using their likeness in whatever fashion they want to, it should be allowed to be used. That's their right to do so. Personally, I do feel like people who are strongly against AI and families that have members who are well known that are dead should be able to opt out of them using their likeness, whether that be their art, their actual face, or whatever else you can think of. And I would say that the fairest and most realistic way to do that for other people that don't have an entire estate behind them is to enforce this privacy request portal more and probably make it more accessible to other people who want to opt out of having their content be used in AI. And I think once again, this shouldn't just apply to deep fakes and whatnot, but this should also apply to AI art. People should be able to have an easy process on their site that allows it to where you can submit specific links that they can't take from, and obviously provide verification to prove that it is something that belongs to you. Like for example, like a portfolio page or something like that, just to provide an example. That way, at the very least, there's a consent option for people that vehemently don't want to be a part of it. Now, as for things like AI replacing jobs and things like AI actresses, I unironically think there probably needs to be like some DEI initiative, but for like human beings, so companies don't just end up replacing everyone, because I won't hold you, the AI actress stuff is genuinely terrifying and it sets a really bad precedent if it's not nicked in the bud. Also, do not let these freaks that do this fool you. They are actively trying to replace people with AI no matter what they say otherwise, and most likely it's for them to get money and for other companies to save money and save headaches of them having to deal with certain actors and actresses and stuff, but that should not be a thing. either way, that's pretty much my thoughts about this whole AI situation. I just wanted to kind of air my opinion out there about it and possibly make some solutions. I'm not saying that my solution is like the first that's ever been made, but I wanted to at least kind of contribute to the conversation in a way that's less, whoa, dude, look at this AI here. That's cool. All right, video over. And I wanted to instead at least try my best to come up with like some sort of solution to the problem, because this is really, really scary. And I think people need to be protected. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'll be really interested to hear what you guys have to say. If you guys think that my solutions were really stupid and there's better ways to do it, just let me know in the comments below. And with that, enjoy my giraffe for the last like 20 to 30 seconds. Goodbye.